Alright, so what's going on guys? My name is Muffles and welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about Liberty Falls because for me Liberty Falls has made quite a distinctive turnaround as far as my own personal opinion on the map goes. I went from being not a very big fan of this map before launch and during the life cycle of Black Ops 6, but to now actually really appreciating this map for what it does offer. Because after playing Farm Survival in the Black Ops 7 beta, it made me realize what an actual bare bones experience would be like in Black Ops 6. And I know that that was Black Ops 7 and it's a new game, right? But realistically, if you were to put a survival map into Black Ops 6, it would be nearly identical to what we got in the Black Ops 7 beta with Farm Survival. So after playing Farm Survival, it made me realize that Liberty Falls is actually a full experience. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that. And maybe I didn't give this map enough credit and I didn't give it as much time and thought as I should have. And I didn't go deep enough into this map to find the things that were actually interesting. And I think a big part of this is I really let other people's opinions and the general consensus of this map after Call of Duty Next really get to me, and it really did damper the experience of this map for me when it came out. At COD Next, that's when people started calling this map Liberty Balls, and it's really hard to not remember that because it's such a distinct thing that happened, and that's like the main takeaway I feel like people had, or at least the main takeaway that Zombies players had from Call of Duty Next was Liberty Falls was not up to par and it did not look zombified enough. It was not what people expected out of a Zombies map, at least aesthetically. And I remember being quite upset at the notion of this map's skybox or aura being altered before the game even came out, because personally I think this map looked better when it was brighter, and I think that's the only change they made aesthetically to this map. They just took the skybox, or the overall the overall brightness of the map, and they scaled it down because it's not nighttime, right? That's what people were saying that they wanted, even though everyone knew that was not going to fix the issue with the aesthetic of this map. But all they did essentially was make this map less bright, and I think it actually looked better when it was brighter, because at least that would have been sticking to the vision that Treyarch had for this map. And it's quite disappointing to me that it got changed before I even had the opportunity to play it myself, and I really let the general consensus of this map after that point really damper the experience for me, and it really incentivized me to look at this map as a more simple map that did not have much to offer. Because if you guys remember, people were making direct comparisons of this to bonus maps of old, like the Giant, for example. This map was heavily being compared to the Giant, which I kind of think is an unfair comparison, because even if you go on to the Giant, it is clearly a bonus map because there is some story implications within this map. But if it wasn't for the premise crew and their voice dialogue, this map would be no different from just a regular survival map. And as it should have been, right? The Giant was just an updated graphical version, or reimagining, or remake, I guess you could say, of Derice from World at War. And that map was a bare bones survival experience. So, in my personal opinion, I can now say that the criteria of what I believe a bonus map would be is something more like the Giant, which was an actual bonus map, or something more akin to Farm Survival, which what we're getting in Black Ops 7. I think that to be a more bonus map than Liberty Falls ever could be, and I'm kind of sad that it took me this long to realize this, because after making this realization, I jumped into Liberty Falls and started doing the side Easter eggs that I had not bothered looking into before, and it made me realize that this map is a full experience, and I would put money on people not getting on this map just for the camo grind. Because I know Treyarch came out and said that this is the most played map ever. Like, this is the most played Zombies map that they've ever created. A lot of people think that those numbers are skewed because of the camo grind, and yeah, I do think that part of that is probably true. There's probably a lot of truth to that, but outside of the camo grind, I can definitely see this map just being the most played because it is the most accessible. And it is everything else that Terminus is, it is everything else that the Tomb is, it is everything else that Citadel is, it is everything else that every other map in this game could be. It's just smaller, more condensed, and quicker to do. I think genuinely this map was successful because it takes every element of zombies and simplifies it. And that just so happens to include the camo grind, because the main mechanics of the game cater to the camo grind. And this isn't new, you guys know how I feel about this. I don't think that the camo grind itself is a problem. I don't mind doing camo challenges. I think it does nothing but add to replayability of the game. It's just when you design mechanics around the camo grind that's when I have an issue with it. It's not the camo grind itself that I don't like. It's the mechanics being designed for the camo grind. And taking that into consideration, it's no wonder that this map is such a good map for camo grinding. It's the most accessible map for everything, not just the camo grind. So of course you would get on this map to do camos. It just makes sense. It's exactly what I did when I first got this game, and that might have been a big contributor as to why I didn't bother looking into Easter eggs and such, is because I was doing all of that on Terminus, and I came onto Liberty Falls just to camo grind, because that's what everyone was saying this map was for, and I really just let that get to me. So with that being said, I was able to dive back into Liberty Falls after Farm Survival and really give this map a chance and fully experience everything this map had to offer. And because I didn't give it a chance before, I literally had to go on YouTube and look up like YouTube shorts and watch like YouTube shorts of people showing me how to do side quests and stuff like that, because outside of gathering all the intel on these maps, I did not look any further into doing any of this stuff, and I genuinely did not know how to do a lot of it because I just never gave it my attention. So from here, let's dive on into the stuff that I found a new appreciation for, and this is undoubtedly going to be the side Easter eggs. The first one that comes to mind is the vermin Easter egg, the one where you throw the 3 Semtexes into the blood pool on a vermin round. And I found this one to be pretty cool to do. It's something small, but I had just never attempted it, and this is one where I specifically remember going on YouTube Shorts to learn to do this, because I had seen it before, obviously, like when the game came out and everyone was going over this stuff on YouTube. Obviously I saw people doing it. I just never bothered to attempt it myself. And after doing this, I think it's really cool. You don't really get great stuff from it. Usually it just gives you like salvage or equipment and stuff like that. But you can actually get weapons, like weapons that aren't going to be a great use to you really if you're just sticking to your build. But it is cool that you do just get some reward for this for basically doing nothing. And the rewards for this actually do scale in rounds as you go up. So if you do this on a higher round, you actually can get some pretty decent stuff from this. And it's very simple to do, like I said before. And I just never really looked into it, but I think it's pretty neat. Another side Easter egg that comes to mind is the Aetherella Easter egg, and this is probably one of those Easter eggs that you think of immediately when you think about Liberty Falls. It's probably the most memorable one to come from this map, and in my opinion, I would have to agree. This one is very, very fun to do. It's easy to do as well. All you have to do is go around the map and collect all the little Aetherella statues. I think there's 5 in total that you need to collect, and as soon as you collect that 5th one, it transforms you into the Aetherella trap, which is kind of funny to me. I kind of think that it would be a little cooler if you just actually became Aetherella, or it gave you like a special equipment or something like that that is mimicking her laser vision ability. Other than that, I think for what it is, it's pretty cool. It's easy to do. I don't know if you can redo it after doing it once in the match, or if this is just like a once a game thing. I think it's pretty cool to do, and it adds a lot to the lore of Liberty Falls, like just based off of the Aetherella comic book. How that connects to the overall lore, I have no idea, because Aetherella is obviously a comic book adaptation, like superhero version of Samantha Maxis, which I find pretty interesting, but still I don't know how people in this town would even know about that type of stuff to create a comic book about it. But either way, if we take that little plot hole or whatever you want to call it out of the equation, I think it's a pretty cool Easter egg to do. Just simply from a gameplay perspective, it's pretty neat to do, and redoing it and rediscovering it definitely brought a lot more life into this map that I just had not seen before. This next one isn't really an Easter egg. It's something that is on every map in Black Ops 6, and it's the SAM Trials. But I think the SAM Trials shine the brightest on Liberty Falls just because this map is more simplistic and the side Easter eggs are done at a quicker pace. Not that they're not there, but they're done at a quicker pace, so you're more incentivized to do the SAM trials because it's something that comes up ever so often in the rounds that you can continue to do throughout your game. And you can get some pretty good rewards from this. It mostly will give you like salvage and equipment and like little things like that, but there's been times where I've gotten ray guns from this, I've gotten perks from doing these, I've gotten monkey bombs and Casimirs, and you know, some pretty good stuff from this. I'm not sure if you can get like high rarity weapons from this or not. I don't think I've ever seen that. But overall, I think these are worth doing, especially on Liberty Falls, because there is just less to do overall. And if you're already there grinding camos and not really doing side Easter eggs, I see no reason not to run the SAM trials just for the extra salvage or just for the chance of getting a ray gun or a perk. Because I know now, after the new perks have all been added to the game, you can get Vulture Raid and Double Tap from doing this. And you guys already know how I feel about that. I think Vulture Raid and Double Tap are pretty essential perks to have. I mean, especially Double Tap. But if you can get Double Tap out of a SAM trial, I think you'll be well more set up and you don't have to wait until round 25 to get Double Tap. So it's pretty cool. I think the SAM trials add a lot more to Liberty Falls than they do any other map, and just because of that, I appreciate it way more in this map than I do any other one. And just like the SAM trials, this one isn't really a Easter egg, but it's in Terminus as well, and I think it's in Shattered Veil also. It's the Volt keys that drop from the elites and like the manglers and stuff. They can drop green, blue, purple, and gold rarity keys, so exactly like the weapon rarity system. And you take these over to the Vault and you go inside, and there's little lock boxes that you go up to, and they can give you some good stuff as well. You can also get perks and ray guns out of here, and these ones I know for a fact can give you high rarity weapons as well. Not oftentimes are you going to diverge from what you already have, but if you do this early enough into your game and you end up getting a higher rarity weapon, I see no reason to not take it if you're not camo grinding. So the Volt key, I think, shines on this map brighter, just in the exact same way that SAM trials do. There is less to do in the map overall, so I see no reason to not be grabbing these keys and going and doing this once per round. And the Vault itself is super easy to open as well. You just go around the map, you get 3 numbers, and you enter those 3 numbers into the keypad, and the door opens. And you can go inside with your loot key and collect your stuff. So the next Easter egg that I want to talk about is the bowling Easter egg. This one can be done by going around the map and shooting 4 or 5 pairs of bowling shoes. And after you shoot the last pair of shoes, it spawns you in the bowling alley, and you see Mr. Peaks floating, doing his little dance, and then the bowling ball will spawn in, and you have, I think, you have a couple minutes, I think you have 2 minutes to bowl down some zombies, and you earn points while doing this, and depending on how many points you get and how high your score is, it gives you better and better rewards. I absolutely suck at doing this. I've only done it a handful of times because, you know, this is one of those Easter eggs that I just did not put my time into. Just from doing it over the past couple days of playing this map, gathering footage for this video, I think it's really fun to do. It spawns in a little trophy at the end, just like at the end of the boat race on Terminus, and it can give you some good stuff. I mean, I absolutely suck at doing this, so I didn't really get to see the better rewards that you get from this, but I've seen YouTube clips of people getting some pretty decent stuff from this, and overall it's pretty cool. You know, I really enjoy the atmosphere of it. It utilizes this space very well. I mean, it'd be a missed opportunity if they didn't do something like this when they have a literal bowling alley in the map. So yeah, very cool Easter egg. I recommend checking it out. I mean, this is one that I probably won't continue to do every single game, but it is super cool and I like it a lot. So the next Easter egg that I want to talk about is the falling zombie Easter egg, and that's the one at the church where you throw your Semtex grenade or whatever lethal you happen to have up at the top of the church and explode that little zombie corpse, and it starts raining zombie carcasses down on top of you. When these zombie corpses splat on the ground, they can drop a variety of different rewards. Most of them drop a little tube of blue essence, which only gives you like 100 points apiece, but it also drops score streaks, and I see plenty of different score streaks throughout these guys drop into the ground, and that can be super helpful if you plan on using these to kill a mangler or something later on. I oftentimes don't find it too helpful early in the game because the score streaks are just really overpowered, and you might hang on to this for a while, so it might just be something nice to have in your back pocket until later on in your match. But the main reason for doing this is for the ether tool that drops, and depending on what round you do this on, it drops different rarities of ether tools, and I always like to do this one in round 10, so it drops the blue ether tool, just because I personally find it more helpful to get the blue one earlier on in the game, rather than using the salvage that I've already gathered in my match to upgrade to blue. I'd rather just upgrade to blue instantly and then naturally progress through the game, earn the rest of my salvage, and upgrade my gun as per usual. But I know plenty of other people probably like to do it the other way around. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna get to the same point eventually, just my own little personal preference. But yeah, this Easter egg is no doubt one that I do every single match, and I've done it since the launch of Black Ops 6, and I will continue to do this in every match of Liberty Falls I play from here on out. Alright, so last but not least, this would not be a Liberty Falls video without mentioning the vending machine in the spawn room. So this is one that I have also done since the launch of Black Ops 6, simply because it is so accessible. You just walk right up to this machine, and you can do this once per round, by the way. You smack the bottom of it, and it'll drop something for you. Sometimes it's literally just a bag of Sun Chips or Lay's potato chips, so it's literally nothing of use to you. But ever so often I have actually gotten a free perk from this. And obviously it's more ideal to get this free perk when you already have more perks, that way you're not just like making your actual first perk buy more expensive. But either way, there was one game, I do not have footage of this, but there was one game that I played a long time ago where I smacked this thing on round 1 and it gave me Juggernog off rip. And I thought that was so sick, and just because of that, I just kept smacking this thing every game. I at least smack it once or twice while I'm in the spawn room getting points. But while I was getting footage for this video, I just thought it would be interesting if I just smacked this thing as many times as I possibly could up until like round 25, which is approximately 25 times, okay? And I did miss it once or twice. I think in this footage I actually didn't hit it on round 1, but pretty much every other round after that I did smack it, and I don't think I got anything great out of it, but just because I did this, here's like a small supercut of me smacking it a bunch of times. So it's kind of funny, because I remember at least getting one free perk from doing that, and it looks like from this gameplay, I was not that fortunate. But even if the chance of getting a free perk is less than 1%, which it looks like it could possibly be, and just like a lot of other Easter eggs in this video, I don't see a reason to not do this. It takes no time at all, and it's extremely worth it if you do get lucky and get a free perk. Also, that little radio that fell out that is literally playing the instrumentals to Beauty of Annihilation, that is such a cool Easter egg. We need more of that. I know I literally just said that this last one was going to be the last side Easter egg that I talk about, but there is one more that I want to talk about. So if you guys know me from watching any of the other videos that I've made, you guys know that I am a sucker for a free perk. And on Liberty Falls, it is no different. There is a sharpshooter Easter egg where you go over by the cemetery, and there is 4 Deadshot daiquiri cans. There might be 5, don't quote me on that, but there is some Deadshot daiquiri cans lined up on the fence, and if you can shoot each one of these with 100% accuracy, you will be gifted Deadshot instantly. And personally, I think this is super cool. I mean, Deadshot is a pretty good perk in this game, especially when you double it up with double tap. But even before then, having that extra headshot damage is really helpful early on. And also, if you play on controller, it changes your aim assist from aiming to the chest to aiming for the head, which is just a really good thing if you don't want want to worry about getting headshots that much, and it's especially helpful for grinding camos. You can just stand there and just spam your gun. You don't even have to think about shooting them. You can just run around and just brainlessly shoot zombies. So Deadshot is a pretty good reward for doing this Easter egg, and obviously I would recommend doing this after you already have a couple perks, just to avoid your other perks getting more expensive after getting free perks, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Deadshot, super solid. Absolutely love this Easter egg. Will repeat. Will do again. Alright guys, now that we've gone through all the side Easter eggs that I enjoy, I would like to get into the main quest and the story of Liberty Falls. So starting off with the story, I think that the story in Liberty Falls is a bit weaker than what we would find in, let's say, Terminus or any other map following Terminus. But I'm a strong believer that it's actually not the worst thing ever. It really speaks to the simplicity of the map as it is. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video when I said that Liberty Falls just kind of takes all the broader elements of zombies and brings it together into a more simple experience, the story and the Easter egg also fit into that same idea. So the first thing that comes to mind, and probably like a big complaint a lot of you guys or a lot of other people have about Liberty Falls, is that there's no set crew on this map. Within the story, you play as Project Janice first response team with no set crew, so it's just made up of a bunch of generic operators. And a lot of people seem to have a problem with this, but personally, I don't really find it to be the biggest issue. I think the decision to not include a set crew on this map was completely intentional, and I don't find it to be a bad thing. Because not having a set crew on this map really allows for the story to kind of go onto the back burner and for gameplay to be right up front. And I think that was entirely the intention of this map. It was supposed to be more simplistic and get right to the gameplay. You weren't meant to be super hard focused on the story in this map. And realistically, the only goal the story needed to accomplish was to set more context to the town of Liberty Falls, so it made more sense when our actual set crew arrived at the mansion in Shattered Vale. And honestly, I think they did that perfectly. So during the story of Liberty Falls, you start off with Blanchard telling you to investigate the town, and as you go through the town, you eventually make your way to the church, you go inside the Dark Ether, and you activate the machine. This is when Panos will start speaking to you, and he tells you that you need to build the jet gun. You then use said jet gun to build the STG device. You go on to use that STG device to fill 2 canisters that are found around the map, after which you insert them into the machine and you are now ready to enter the boss fight. Once the boss fight is complete, Panos betrays you and traps you within the Dark Ether while simultaneously freeing himself. While once again, the prospect of the whole story and the Easter egg is extremely simple. As you can see, the whole Easter egg is actually only like 3 or 4 steps, like including the actual boss fight. But I think this beautifully sets up the rivalry between Blanchard and Panos that continues throughout the rest of the game through intel and in the actual map of Reckoning when you decide which version of the wonder weapon you want to acquire. But I think once again, the simplicity of it is the point. Like really, I think it is just kind of cool that there's even an Easter egg in this map in the first place. This could have easily been like a Van Dorn farm situation like in BO7 where it is just a survival map. They didn't have to do any type of main quest or any side quest really on this map for it to accomplish the purpose that they wanted it to accomplish. And I find myself just really appreciative of all of this stuff at the end of the day. Like the Easter egg, the boss fight, even though there's no actual boss, it's just a bunch of like HVTs or whatever you want to call them, like high value targets or just like a big beefed up version of the regular mini bosses. But either way, I'm just extremely grateful that it's even here to begin with, because it really does not have to be. Treyarch really put a lot more love into this map than they really needed to, and I'm just really appreciative of it, honestly. Like at the end of the day, I can't be more grateful that this type of map exists, and it's not surprising to me again that this map is as successful as it is. It has everything. It has something for everybody, and I'm just really disappointed in myself that it took me an entire year to realize the vision of this map and really appreciate everything it has to offer. With all that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching the video, and before the video ends, I actually want to add in like a brief little segment here on the wonder weapon, because this is actually something that I failed to mention in my Terminus video. So the beam smasher on Terminus automatically just gets a leg up over the jet gun for me just because it's a brand new wonder weapon, and I genuinely think that the beam smasher is just more fun to use over the jet gun. But I'd be lying if I said the jet gun wasn't just overall better as a wonder weapon and how it performs when actually killing things within the map. As much as I would have liked a brand new wonder weapon in Liberty Falls, I have no issue with the jet gun here because it is tastefully implemented. There's not like some story of like, oh, they just went into the dark ether and found it or whatever. This was a combined effort between a citizen of Liberty Falls, like a moonshiner, I believe, and Panos. So I have no issue at all with the story of the jet gun. I have no issue with them adding new lore to it and bringing it back in a new way. The only issue I have with returning wonder weapons is if it's tastelessly implemented or if it makes no sense for it to be in this situation, if that makes sense. But the explanation they gave it here in Liberty Falls I think works perfectly fine, and the jet gun was not like a big significant wonder weapon of the past, and it wasn't even really a fan favorite. In transit it absolutely sucked and nobody liked it, you know, but it was because of the way they designed it within the map. And they actually took a wonder weapon from the past here and they made it what it should have been in the first place, and I have no issue with them bringing it back if it's bringing it back to fix it and not just degrade it or make it something that it wasn't before, or at least something that it wasn't before in a negative way. But yeah, that pretty much concludes my thoughts on Liberty Falls after I had been humbled by the Black Ops 7 Zombies beta. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave some comments below, like the video, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.